Today on DNVR Buffs Lives, who stood out at the first scrimmage of the spring, and much, much more. Let's get after it. Let's go.
Squad. Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It's DNVR Buffs Live. First show after Pro Day. We had a scrimmage. Social media is mad at Sheduer for the 900th time. And a massive recruiting weekend. Lots to get to today. How was your guys' weekend?
Pretty good, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It's been a lot of fire music dropping in my world lately. So it's been pretty dope. You feel me? Some Dirk, Free Smirk. Dirk dropped recently. My boy G Herbo, a couple of Chicago legends. My boy Nav dropped recently. Jay Critch out in Brooklyn dropped recently. Fire.
What a weekend.
So Send us some a curated list.
I keep asking him for suggestions,
like a couple pieces here and there.
No, I'm gonna do that for sure today.
Okay.
Today. Expect some heat in y'all messages today.
Right. I was doing a lot better 30 seconds ago because I found out I poured this Coke and it doesn't taste like Coke.
It didn't mix right.
Yeah, and so now I got to sit here for an hour with this thing.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I would say that we'll just let you go for a few seconds, but it seems funnier if we don't.
This is a weird thing for me, and I admit that, and I realize that. But just having pouring up some soda just to drink is just different to me. Just to have,
This shit is magical, bro.
Bro just poured up some Coke just to sip on just during the show.
Yeah, it's great.
It's interesting to me. I know that's a common thing amongst people, but I just don't do that,
It's not every day. It's a few times a week, but
sure.
Yeah, the thing for me is that Diet Coke is 0 carbs, but also tastes sweet compared to most of the things that I can eat. So it's like a little treat.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because I can't have sugar.
No, that makes sense. I see that.
Day 60 something of working out. Where are we at?
Yep, down 17 pounds now.
Wow, congrats, bro.
Crazy, bro.
Thank
That's
you.
dope.
Thank you.
Nice. All right, let's get to the show. Today, we had a big recruiting weekend this last weekend. Lots of visitors. We'll recap who was here and some interesting players to keep an eye on as we move into portal season here. Pro Day fallout. We'll talk about the ball padding controversy.
Oh, God, bro.
The odd shift for Sheduer. Titans canceling their workouts with the guys. But we'll start with the scrimmage. We'll start with what everyone saw in Well-Off. What stood out to you? Or did we just start with the quarterbacks?
Yeah, let's start with the quarterbacks.
All right.
I thought we saw promising flashes from both guys in what we could see. I think that, how do I say this? There's going to be a moment when everyone really misses Sheduer. Mm-hmm. And that is not an indictment on either of these two guys. Mm-mm. It's just rare to have a should-be top 5 pick quarterback on your roster. But I think that it's just it's going to be a process. We're a long ways away from the first game of the season. These guys are going to continue to get better, but you could tell that it's we're very much in the installation and getting comfortable process for these guys.
Sure. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, from what I've seen, from the clips and whatnot, just from at least Saturday scrimmage and even some practices before then, I really like how both of the quarterbacks are being moved out of the pocket, moving the throwing, the launch point a lot of the times, whether that's throwing on the run or, even just like some play action stuff, getting the quarterback moving out of the pocket for, again, both Caden and Juju, because obviously we know that's part of Caden's game. But Juju is also a very, very capable and accurate thrower on the run as well. And that's just not something we saw a lot in this offense the last 2 years, especially in 2024 in particular, obviously, because that's not really Sheduer's game. He obviously can throw on the run, and we saw, some of that on Friday at the pro day. But he's more of a pure pocket passer, and I think just – again, giving the quarterback a different launch angle is going to help the offensive line, obviously, and obviously the quarterbacks as well kind of just have more clear vision on their targets. I think the quarterback who shows, before week 1 that they can best take care of the football is going to have a huge upper hand in this quarterback competition, because we obviously know that is one of the biggest keys to football. We know Coach Prime cares a lot about that, especially after coaching his son the last few years, who rarely turn the football over, and obviously we saw some turnovers, clips from the scrimmage, and the defense has to take some credit for that as well. But like I said, I think the quarterback who proves that they can take care of the football, not put the ball in harm's way, is going to have a really upper hand in this competition. And I think at this point, I agree, it's a lot more installation at this point. Yeah. 9 practices in, which is still pretty early in the whole year's process. But I think it says a lot that there hasn't been separation. I think that speaks well on Julian Lewis, being in a competition with a guy who's played college football for 3 to 4 years, and there's not at least a clear, sizable gap between the two. I think that, like I said, kind of shines well on Juju. But both of them guys are balling, and I'm excited to see it continue to unfold.
Yeah, even on the well-off from Saturday, I think we learned quite a bit. We saw Julian under center at one point. Literally haven't seen that the last 2 seasons. We saw a lot of that, that speed option stuff from Caden that he was running, which they did a lot at Liberty. So it's encouraging to see those kind of developments.
Did you see that play, bro, where they faked like speed option pitch and threw a screen backside to Trevor?
Love it.
That was a beautiful play.
They scored on that, right?
They did, sure did. Yep. That was beautiful.
So there was also one where I think Caden maybe felt like he made the wrong read. He pulled it and then realized it and just went back to where the running back was gonna go, and they blew it dead because it's a quarterback. But I felt like if that was a live play, he was going to go.
For sure. So you've kind of seen the strengths from those two guys early on. And Juju, I mean, he's seen it quick. He had a play where I think the defense jumped. He just immediately threw it up. Yeah. You know what I mean? He's really processing, seeing the field well. And I think as we learned on Friday, great understanding of the game. It's just apparent watching him in even these well-off highlights. So, yeah, what Scott said, it's encouraging, I think, for Julian's sake, that it's so close at this point, too. I mean, it is still relatively early. It's 9-10 practices through spring football. You only get 15 of them, and we know that the team's going to change with the portal coming up, and you're going to have a whole fall camp to go through. But it's encouraging to see the freshman really he's fitting in right now.
Yeah, and we heard from inside practice basically that same thing, which is Juju's hanging around, which really says a lot about how Juju's doing. Coming in as a 17-year-old kid who should be getting ready for prom right now.
No, for real. That's insane.
Yep. Other things that we saw, the wide receivers, I mean, we talk about them all the time, man, but Joseph Williams over the last week has just continually put up highlight after highlight after highlight. Isaiah Harge constantly running with the first team. I'd expect him to be, really high up in the rotation, I think, at least for this spring game and then going into fall camp. Quanell had a play. Gibson's still getting out in space.
I really liked that play with Quanell. Juju drops back, steps up in the pocket, goes parallel to the line of scrimmage, and then just flips it over the linebacker into Quanell.
Yep.
That's fire. Hey, I feel like we've heard Coach Prime say with Travis Hunter, there is no 50-50 ball with Travis Hunter. And I'm not going to put this on Joseph Williams, but I feel like Coach Prime at one point is going to say that about Joseph Williams. There ain't no 50-50 ball with him.
Yep.
That's his ball if a ball is up in the air and he has a chance to catch it. We were already seeing, some evidence of that. He is a jump ball dog. We saw that, last year at Tulsa as a true freshman, especially him coming on strong.
That's where he did a lot of his damage.
No doubt. And again, with these two quarterbacks in particular, who can place the football in contested situations, I think Joseph is going to be a real focal part of this passing game here this year.
And to what you said there, I mean, you're not going to put the Travis expectations on him, but it's what Coach Prime said. You don't replace Travis with one player. You use 3, 4, 5 guys to replace him. Joseph Williams, he looks like to be the jump ball red zone type guy right now, right? Other guys are going to start picking up the slack where it's due. Draylen's probably going to handle a lot of screens as well as Quentin Gibson. Terrell took a screen. So you're starting to see that process play out. A lot of Brandon Hood and Michael Welsh with the first team, too. A lot of Charlie Offerdahl as well.
I peeped that.
then
Michael looking good, boy.
Yep.
Sheesh.
Does he look slimmed down a little bit to you guys?
I think so, yeah.
Just a little
Yeah,
bit.
Yeah.
I'd say so. I think that's facts.
Yep. What else? RJ Johnson had an interception.
Demon. Speaking of interceptions, bro.
Go ahead.
This team, Colorado, was second in the Big 12 last year in turnovers forced between interceptions and fumbles recovered, only behind BYU. So that speaks to the company that they were in. And I feel like this is another defense this year that is going to be in the top, 3 or 4 in the conference in terms of turnovers forced, because I think that's just part of what Robert Livingston's defense is due, and that's part of the identity he wants to instill in this defense, especially with some of the returners and even some of the guys that you bring back, like Tawfiq Bayard is going to get after the football.
Yeah.
And again, when we talk about the pass rush to defensive line, they're going to have plenty of opportunities for strip sacks and tackles for loss and all that. So takeaways is going to be a big part of this defense, I think, in 2025. We're already seeing it.
On that, things that we just heard, not well off, or you wouldn't see on well off, though. Arden Walker apparently went crazy.
Yeah.
He's been balling. He's had a lot of responsibility put on his plate, from a leadership standpoint. But he's backing it up, on and off the field, it seems, at this point. He's going to be a potential impact player for this team.
Huge. I mean, that's, it goes back to something we were saying at the time that no one was paying attention to, but it was like, Coach Prime's not just getting senior transfers.
Right.
This is going to be Arden Walker's 3rd year with the program.
Yeah.
He comes in as a young transfer and then was developed into the player that he is now. Like, everyone was like, this transfer portal thing, it's not sustainable, because they just thought they were bringing in guys that are going to have to replace them every year. Like, they actually figured out a way to have class balance while bringing in, 70 transfers.
Yep.
Arden Walker should be a preseason All Big 12 pick.
Absolutely.
After the season he had, the second half of the season in particular, finishing the season as the second highest ranked edge player in the entire conference, he's in for a massive senior season. We talked about it multiple times here on the show, and to hear that he's really doing it out there in practice day in and day out, he's in for a big year.
We talked about the RJ interception, but the defense had 4 takeaways in Saturday's practice. You mentioned it. They created havoc all year last year in the Big 12. A lot of players are coming back on that defensive side of the ball, but they're getting after. I mean, Champ Bailey's there, hanging out with the corners still for that whole practice day on Saturday, and
he made me double take with that overtime hoodie. I thought it was an Oregon.
Oh,
yeah, because it was kind of green.
It was like gray with a green O in the middle. I was like, what is he doing?
That'd be insane.
And then last thing, I mean, you kind of saw it. It wasn't a point of emphasis on well-off, but quite a few penalties.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Quite a few penalties. So it's obviously, again, it's early. They're still figuring a lot out. But Coach Prime he's mentioned that's a point of emphasis for this team, especially after last year. He wants them to be just more disciplined all around.
Gotta be.
Fewer, they lead the Big 12 in penalties last year, I think?
I think so. I think that's right, yeah.
So, I mean.
Really?
Yeah.
I can check on it real quick.
Jeez. I know we did the year before, but I felt like we cut down on it last year.
I thought so too, but.
Which I guess both things can be true.
Absolutely.
Yep, most penalties in the conference.
So, yeah.
67 yards and penalties a game.
Can't have that.
100 on the year. No other team hit 100, obviously.
Who was second?
95, Texas Tech.
That's bad, man. And they did have their fair share of completely preventable delay of games and shit like that.
Jumping and someone hit the quarterback. Coach Prime gave them a automatic first down.
Yep.
Yeah. Just that's an important one to get under control.
Gotcha.
And honestly, one of the things that when teams make a big jump in improvement, oftentimes that's one of the categories where you can see it.
Right. I mean, things got chippy out there too. You saw, I don't know what exactly happened or who started it, but the offensive lineman got into it with a linebacker, and then Coach Prime was made a comment to the offensive line like, y'all can't let a linebacker, punk you like that. I better see you guys go crazy next time.
He said, if I ever see a linebacker hit one of y'all and y'all don't kill this dude, we gonna have a problem. Yes. He said, get back. He said, we're not taking whoopings. We giving whoopings.
That's exactly what
and
he
that
said,
that was, I feel like a message that needed to be sent at this point, because obviously, obviously a lot was made of the offensive line in 2023 from a toughness perspective. I think they took a bit of a step forward in the right direction here in 2024, but it's got to be better in 2025 in terms of toughness, especially when you got not number 2 back there in terms of Sheduer Sanders. With a new quarterback. So I'm glad that Coach Prime made it a point to get that message across there.
When you're on the offensive line, too, you should feel like nobody can mess with us.
Yeah, right.
Like, we're the biggest collective group on the team.
Exactly.
That's basically it from the scrimmage. Anything else?
I got a couple more things if you want to hit on the other side of the break.
Yeah, we'll hit it on the other side of this break. Shout out to our friends at Timeline. Can you tell us about our friends at Timeline, RK?
That's all you, bro.
I love Timeline, man.
Tell me about them, Scotty. No, shout out to Timeline. They sell health longevity supplements featuring their proprietary MitoPure ingredient. Yes. MitoPure works with the cells in your body to help reverse age-related decline. Benefits include increased strength, energy, and endurance. You always want to feel like you did when you were younger, right?
I wish.
Our friends at Timeline are helping you do that. Right now, they're giving you 10% off your order of MitoPure. Have you put MitoPure into your off-season?
I haven't, but I should.
Workout routine? You should, bro. You'll feel a lot better and stronger.
And I heard anti-aging.
Yes, sir.
Which I'm at that stage.
Go to timeline.com/DNVR today to get started. That's timeline.com/DNVR.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Lucy Nicotine, 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco-free. To me, way better flavors than their competitors in the market. It's baseball season.
It is.
Nothing like it, just ice cold Coors Light and a pouch of Lucy at the ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be hitting up all the Rooftop Friday Club.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're going to have ourselves some Lucy out there. Go to lucy.co/DNVR. Use promo code DNVR to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co. Use code DNVR to get 20% off. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical.
We were talking a little bit about the offensive line before we went to break there. And one guy that stood out to me, which it appeared that he was running with the ones right next to Jordan Seaton, that left guard spot, Flapjack. Zachariah Owens, who we've heard some noise about, developing, continuing to develop after transferring last year. It is about time. That's a big boy right there. And if he can develop into that true kind of, left guard right next to Seed and whoever's obviously starting at center, that would be a really cool development for this offensive line. Again, a young guy who might have gone under the radar last year when he transferred in, just because he didn't have, playing time at his previous stop. But again, this is a really highly touted high school recruit, and obviously a guy who has talent. So that was something that caught my eye. The other side of the ball, the linebackers, right? Obviously kind of been a topic of discussion for us, at least me personally, after we heard Coach Hart talk last week. I saw a lot of JB, and we've heard that Jeremiah Brown has kind of been maybe taking over some reins at the linebacker room, really been making some standout plays. I've seen a lot of Jalen Wester as well. Again, kind of making plays and making hits. First team defense, I saw at least on a couple of clips, JB and the other Salter out there starting at linebacker.
Yep.
So that would be interesting. Obviously, he didn't play really much at all other than special teams at his previous stop at TCU. But as Caden told us a couple weeks ago, he's pretty much been hurt his entire college career. So if he's healthy right now, again, this was another, I believe, 3, maybe 4-star recruit out of high school. That could be a name in the linebacker room that we just haven't really been talking about for whatever reason. But if he can provide some depth to that room, potentially maybe even start, that would be another interesting development.
I think he caused a couple turnovers in that scrimmage.
I think that's right. And also, I said before the show, Toffee Byer just looked cold in that number 11. The number 11 fits him really well, and he's out there flying around making plays.
Yep.
Chill. I already know what you're doing, bro. Chill.
Anything else from the scrimmage?
I don't think so.
Hold on. There's one last thing.
This guy.
I don't even know what's going on right now.
There's just one more person that stood out to me at the start.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
I gotta find it.
I just bumped it in Slack.
Okay.
Probably a demon.
Probably.
Probably a demon.
Speaking of looking crazy as hell, that number 11. This is just too good to not bring this up. And it's your own fault. You reminded me of it.
I low-key thought when I said it before the show you were gonna remember, and I'm like, he probably forgot that.
We got it.
Yeah.
Oh, there
I don't
he
think
is.
so.
Look at
That boy fresh as hell,
Look
lady.
at him in that 11.
That sticks number 11 with the Nike shooter sleeve on for media day. You feel me? I was out there fresh as hell, man.
That's my QB1 right
You
there.
see what's going.
Crazy. How many years ago was that?
This was 2018. So
Dang.
Face
6
of the
years ago now.
program, dude.
No cow.
Yeah, literally.
No cow.
They got him on the schedule graphic.
Wow.
Facts. What a dog.
Big time.
What a time to be alive, man. I've been waiting on one of the, you feel me? One of the Colorado receivers to hit me like, hey, I'm trying to get some extra work
Yeah,
in.
let's
I
go.
got you. Anybody watching trying to get some routes in, I got you. I got a live arm. I got you.
I was standing on business for you today in the office because we were
Appreciate
talking
that.
about doing like a series of like running routes, throwing passes,
yeah.
whatever, with someone that we're bringing in. And they're like, oh, we can have RC throw it. And I was like, no. We can have Scott throw it.
Period.
And then there was a whole thing. I was like, all I know is what I saw at the Super Bowl
Yeah, exactly.
in the throwing competition. And our guy Scotty was on top.
That's going to be some fire content. Yeah, man, I played right side of the hallway. I did play QB. Look, yeah, all right, Teasy. You got one. You ain't going to get another one. I'll let that one slide.
Make a
Put me on the
Hayes Fawcett
Hayes
style
Fawcett.
graphic for that bug. Yeah.
That'd be fire.
We need that.
Oh, man. What a time.
All right. Fallout from Pro Day. A lot. Isn't it crazy? I was telling Dre this because Dre went up to Pro Day, right? Mm-hmm. And we started talking about the ball padding thing, which we'll get into. And I was like, isn't it just wild? Like, you just go up there, everything seems fine.
Yeah.
And then you come back, and then social media is just like,
Ablaze.
this is the worst thing I've ever seen. Complete failure. Like,
wild, bro.
It's insane.
It is.
All right, we'll start with this. After the Pro Day, this came out Saturday morning. After yesterday's Pro Day, it's from Jim Wyatt. Jim Wyatt tweeted out, after yesterday's Colorado Pro Day, the Titans brass met with Sheduer Sanders' camp, and the parties have agreed to cancel the upcoming private workout. Said the Titans, have scouted multiple games. They've seen all the film. I think they canceled their meeting with Travis as well.
Yep.
So it sounds like they've settled in on Cam Ward.
That's one take. Dre upstairs has the opposite take.
He thinks they're smoke screening?
He thinks that they've settled in on Sheduer,
Really?
and that's why they're canceling it. Obviously, all of the smoke and all of the insiders and all of that are pointing the opposite direction. But we've seen teams kind of throw a curveball like this before, so
Yeah.
we'll see. But I think your take is certainly the more popular one.
This draft's kind of weird, man. There's I feel like a lot more uncertainty than usual in terms of where guys are going to go, what their range is even too. Like I saw something, I think it was an ESPN like roundtable thing. One of the three of them said like they talked to two executives for different teams, and both said they only have around 15 to 21st round grades in this class, which means that you're going to see a lot of variety in the boards, how they stack them, and you're going to see some surprises in the first round and throughout the draft for sure. So
It's going to be interesting. And obviously, to our case point, I heard Jordan Schultz, the Fox Sports insider today, also mention the fact that part of the reason they probably did that, at least what he's hearing, is that they saw all they needed to see from Sheduer. They were really impressed by the workout, and they don't need to work him out again after already spending time with him and what they saw at the Pro Day. So I do think that this probably most likely means that Cam Ward's going one, which is something that we all thought anyway. But honestly, I like that Tennessee is doing that because let's just not waste each other's time. Let's not waste your time. Let's not waste my time. If y'all know y'all gonna pick Cam Ward, then let's move forward amicably. So I think that's what happened. So I don't mind it at all.
After that, draft odds started to come out. There was one sports book who had the Saints up there as the number 1 team to get Sheduer. I think they had the Giants second, and then the Browns third, which is obviously interesting because Browns and Giants 2 and 3, and then the Saints are back at 9. Our friends at Bet365 for the second overall pick, the player to be drafted at 2 overall, they've got Abdul Carter minus 250, Travis plus 200, then Sheduer plus 700.
Wow.
And then for the third overall pick, Travis is favored at minus 150, Sheduer is plus 160, and then it's Abdul Carter, Cam Ward, more after that.
So Abdul's the favorite for number 2 right now?
Abdul's the favorite for number 2. Travis is the favorite for number 3. But the buzz coming out this weekend after Pro Day is that the Browns are like in love with Travis Hunter now.
It's all, I don't know. I think it's all just smoke and mirrors.
It is, bro. And nobody knows what the Cleveland Browns are going to do at number 2.
Can I just say something? And this has nothing to do, well, there's no way that you came out of that Pro Day with a new opinion of Travis Hunter.
People managed to do that, though.
I think there is a way.
Okay, tell me.
I think there is a way just from seeing him in person, maybe. I'm assuming the Browns and the Giants were talking about their contingencies. I'm sure they were at least a few of Colorado's games this year. But I think to see him in a one-on-one setting, like, a more personal, more intimate setting like that, where he's twitchy, like they can see that with we saw how close Andrew Berry was standing next to Travis as he was warming up. And I think the no gloves thing is also just another feather in his cap, where it's like that was one of the things you can maybe knock Travis on if you're really trying to nitpick his game. Does he really have true, wide receiver sticky hands? And I think, again, if you saw him on Friday, there's no reason to have that opinion anymore. So I think there is a chance maybe in the Browns case they saw Travis in person in that setting. Or like, yeah, that's our guy. That's got to be our guy.
That's just crazy to me because like, if you were at a game and you just watched like a Travis Hunter warm up, to me you would have taken more from that than you would have Pro Day. Like we didn't even get to see Travis high point a ball or
Facts.
One hand catch or like anything like that. Where you watch him in a warm up and you actually get to see like when he's like asking whoever's throwing it, like give me one in the back pylon, and he's doing like a 360 one-handed grab. So I don't know if they came away from that saying changing their opinion of him. That's crazy to me, but it'll be for the best for them long term. I just don't love the idea of Travis going to Cleveland and him having Kenny Pickett or potentially a Kirk Cousins throwing to him. Like that would be the waste of a generational
just for
talent
this year, bro.
Maybe, but I mean, you're assuming that they get it right next year or the year after.
They're not going to have a quarterback. I don't expect them to be good, even if they get Travis. They're going to be picking in this this range again next year, probably.
That sucks. I think for him to have a rookie season like that, where he's going to be in that situation potentially.
It's the Cleveland Browns we're talking about. Do you realize this? I've been trying to tell you.
Okay, I hear you.
I'm just saying. They've made very bad football decisions for my entire life, 30 years.
I get that. You can hold, a certain franchise to a standard, but there's a different GM, a different head coach who I think have a decent amount of power in the decision making there. So it's going to be interesting. You mentioned the Saints, right?
Yeah,
the Saints kind of be the favorite for Sheduer.
And Sheduer was asked specifically after Pro Day about fitting into a Kellen Moore offense. Coach Prime gave the little tease leaving the ESPN set after Pro Day. I like these colors. Of course, he's wearing black and gold.
Best colors possible, so how would you not like them?
My thing with New Orleans, they drafted a quarterback in 2023, Jake Haener. They drafted a quarterback last year in 2024, Spencer Rattler. They still have Derek Carr as their supposed starter, who's on the books this year, cap hit of $20 million, a dead cap hit of $80 million. That's $69 million cap hit in 2026, $59 million cap hit in 2026. And I know you like to talk about numbers, Mr. CPA. Jake over here.
It's how the
but
league is ran. I'm glad you're finally catching on.
That just doesn't really make sense to me from a fit. And like, again, I like Kellen Moore being the guy to coach Sheduer Sanders. I do like that. But in terms of him joining that quarterback room and them thinking with the number 9 overall pick, we're going to spend it on a quarterback after the last 2 drafts who drafted a quarterback, doesn't really make sense to me.
There's kind of an old adage you should take a quarterback every year if you don't have one.
Yep. Derek Carr.
Who does that work for?
The Eagles have done it multiple times. Yeah, that's how the Eagles end up with Jalen Hurts.
I suppose.
No, literally, they were banking on Carson Wentz to like have a revival, and then they were just like, "Oh, let's just draft Jalen Hurts," and then
see what happens.
I think Wentz already had issues at that point, right? Wasn't he already hurt? Didn't he already missed that?
Oh yeah.
Well, he had torn his ACL
because he missed the Super Bowl
season,
right?
And then, like
he had like a back thing, I think.
Yeah. So I think that was a little different, but I hear you. I mean, I think it would just be a bit weird if they drafted a quarterback 3 years in a row, and obviously it's different than drafting a guy in the 5th round versus number 9 overall. But
I really do think there's something too, though, like him being the perfect face of the franchise for a place like New Orleans.
Yes.
And just the way the community would embrace him and love him, and kind of like he's just a fit.
Yeah.
And so I could see like an ownership group kind of falling in love with that idea.
Let's continue this on the other side of this break. Shout out to the homies over at Empire today. It's draft season. A lot of talking about floors and ceilings, you know. Talking about being the best in the business at floors. It's Empire today.
Hell yeah.
Of course. Always keeping you your floors at your home or business looking spick and span. You can get an in-home estimate as well. Get an expert in there. They know exactly what they're doing, but they'll show you all kinds of different options you have and find the best deal for you. They redid our studio floor here, a while ago. I don't know, a year and a half-ish ago, and it still looks great. So hit them up. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DNVR. That's a $350 discount with code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit empiretoday.com/DNVR for full details.
And shout out to the squad over at UC Health. The DNVR Buff Show is brought to you by UC Health, the official healthcare partner of the Colorado Buffaloes. It's springtime. Summer is quickly approaching. And I know us three up here, we're getting ready.
We're trying.
We're in the gym. We're trying to eat right. We're getting our steps in every single day. Not only because summer is approaching, but because it's our livelihood, right? This is health is wealth, as the saying goes, and we got to make sure we're healthy, and that starts with taking care of our bodies, and that's what all UC Health is about. Learn more about living like there is a tomorrow. Go to uchealth.org for more info. UC Health, live extraordinary.
So back to Sheduer and this recent Saints connection. I mean, the Saints have been dying for a quarterback literally since Drew Brees is retired, though, too. And to your point, though, Scotty, like I think you draft those quarterbacks. They're obviously not supplanting Derek Carr, so I don't think that changes your future plans at all. I don't think anyone's, truly married to Derek Carr, like willing to live and die by Derek Carr in the year 2025 of our Lord. You know what I mean? Like,
I get you.
So they've been aggressive before. Mickey Loomis has been very aggressive in the NFL draft. They've traded up a lot. And,
it's mostly Sean Payton. But
but I mean, tons and tons of good times they've traded the last 12 years up into the draft. They kind of have a, I don't know, like buy now, pay later type of mentality at that franchise,
And their cap situation is in really bad shape because of that.
It's not as bad as
it has been for
dating back to the Drew Brees era because they were trying to win, capitalize on Drew Brees, kind of at least last few years, and they kept kicking the can down the road, and it's part of the reason that they've been kind of middling for the last handful of years. But it'll be interesting. Did y'all see Adam Schefter today throw out some wild card teams for Sheduer?
Yes, I did. Now we're listening to Schefter?
No, not really.
I'm interested in hearing.
You know what? I like that you said that because I'm going to go in on Schefter a little bit because somebody put this together perfectly. Schefter, in the span of 7 weeks, on February 25th, he goes, one of the most things he's confident about in this draft is that the Browns are taking a quarterback. Exactly 1 month later, he says the Browns are leaning towards taking Abdul Carter. this past week, obviously, now he's on Travis Hunter. I mean, this is just the nature of the
You're gonna
draft.
say what I've been saying this whole time.
And whatnot. So yes, I don't take what Adam Schefter says as gospel, but sometimes he throws some interesting things out there, which I think is the case here. He goes, if Sheduer doesn't go, obviously, in the top 3 or to New Orleans at 9, he threw out a couple wild card teams. Miami at 13.
Could definitely
Would be
see
incredible.
that.
With Tua, his health situation potentially consistently being in flux.
Yep.
We talked about him going to Miami like a year ago, though. Like when Tua's literal career was like hanging in the balance. Like,
No,
is he
for
going to
real.
come back? Like,
Yep.
this was a spot we talked about all the time last year, but then they, I don't know, won 7 games and like got out of that range.
Yep. I think at one point I had them as like my dream destination for
I think
Sheduer
you did,
because give him those 2 weapons at wideout. Although
With that coach,
sounds
too.
like Tyreek might be getting traded.
It does sound like that too, yeah.
Which could throw another wrinkle into this whole draft.
Who's the
thing.
next one?
Arizona Cardinals at 16.
Wow.
Oh,
I didn't see that.
He mentioned obviously the fact that Kyler is, obviously the guy there now, but there's some noise about the owner and Kyler not vibing necessarily, and obviously Kyler has kind of gotten a decent amount of runway here, and hasn't really amounted to much. So Schefter suggested that maybe Sheduer could give them a way out of Kyler potentially. And the last one is one that we've heard here and there: Los Angeles Rams at 26.
He would just cook with Sean McVay.
yeah. That would be a beautiful situation.
That'd be the best case scenario for if he truly slid. If he truly slid Sheduer in this draft, that would be the best case scenario for him.
It's such a catch-22 because it'll piss me off if Sheduer slides because it's wrong. It's the wrong thing to happen.
Yeah.
And then people will be like victory lapping that he fell to 20 or
Of
whatever.
course, yeah.
I guess not 20. That's where the Broncos pick. But
21. Because 21 is the Steelers, who we
Yes.
haven't talked about as well.
at the same time, it'll be better for Sheduer because they'll end up with a better organization that was obviously closer to the playoffs last year or in the playoffs.
The Steelers kept getting thrown around too.
Yep.
People keep saying like, I mean, I think I said like about a month ago, like the floor for Sheduer feels like 6, and now there's some weird. Everyone's got an opinion, of course, and all this stuff that's coming out. I'd reset it probably to 21 right now though with the Steelers.
I don't think he falls that far.
I don't think he does either, but like absolute floor, like if it's truly like a bad night and Sheduer does slide in the draft in 2 weeks, I can't see him. Like Pittsburgh just desperately needs someone.
The quotes that will come out of that draft party if he were to slide will be generational.
Oh,
Our guy Emery Hunt cooked again, per usual, about Sheduer. He said this recently. He goes, when it's week 6 and Sheduer is leading Rookie of the Year voting, and whatever team he's on is like 5-1. Don't get mad at me when I poke fun at you. And that's going to be me. It's going to be a weekly receipt street.
Yes.
Like, it's going to be a weekly.
I tweeted that out like a
receipt
month ago. I
street.
cannot
Facts.
wait.
Yep.
It's going to be live, bro.
Everyone is overthinking this so much.
It's
And
crazy.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone be overthought more.
No.
Like if you're talking about him patting the ball, you can pat my balls. Because you've got to be kidding, right? Have you ever watched a football player? Have you ever watched a quarterback?
They haven't, bro.
It's crazy, bro. It's like all like historical knowledge goes out the window when you talk about Sheduer Sanders.
That's what I mean. And then it's like Orlovsky's. This is the hardest evaluation I've ever. How? How? It's the easiest evaluation I could remember,
Should
in my
be.
opinion. Like this is. It's all what Coach Prime has been saying. It's all what's been said all along. If his name wasn't Sanders, not everyone would be overanalyzing and overlooking into and all of this stuff. And then there's the other people talking about like there's never been a black quarterback who's independently wealthy who they can't spin up this story like, oh, he needs this to get his family, out of the hood. Like they love, like the NFL loves a story like that. I think that's playing a part in this too. Like it's so unbelievably overthought that it just makes me sick.
Yeah.
The ball petting thing is just ridiculous because literally
Let's go to it.
a handful of the best quarterbacks, including the best quarterback to ever live, does it. We're talking about Tom Brady,
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers,
Stafford.
Josh Allen, Matthew Stafford. We're literally talking about the fact that Cam Ward pats the football and
Yes.
nobody cares.
Nope.
No, had
Nobody
a whole
cares.
pro day doing
had a
this
whole
exact
pro day
same thing.
tapping the football every time he threw the football, and nobody said a peep about it because it's Sheduer Sanders. This has to be something, and I think we were talking about with the pro day, right? Well, we can sit in a pro day night setting and be like, "Damn, that he killed that." There's no way they can attack this, so we get on Twitter and see people attacking it. It just makes no sense. Like people are just looking for things to talk about because you can't say that he threw the ball inaccurately or the balls are constantly on the ground because he only had 3 true incompletions the whole day on 60 plus attempts. And you mentioned Dano, who is kind of flip floppy sometimes on Sheduer, but he cooked this morning about this one. He goes, if you're making a big deal about Sheduer patting the ball now after his pro day workout, it means you haven't watched a single snap of his tape and are automatically disqualified from having an opinion. And that's facts, because if you're this late in the process talking about what Sheduer might or might not be able to do,
Right.
on the football field, you should not have an opinion. And if you do, it should not be taken seriously.
Sure.
And I mean, it's all just so out of touch. Like Andre Sisco talking about if you do this on Sunday, it's gonna be picks, and it's like, bro, you had 1 pick.
That's the
He's
craziest.
not the only quarterback to ever pass the ball. Why aren't you picking them off?
That's the craziest thing to me is the fact that Andre Sisco gets in on it. Who, whatever. Micah Parsons then is like arguing again. It's like, bro, like
What are we doing?
You literally have seen like probably hundreds of throws where the quarterback patted it before in the last year.
Yeah.
And you didn't get that. Didn't mean you got there faster. That didn't mean Trevon Diggs got a pick. Like it didn't mean any of that. Like it's literally throwing all nuance out the window. So shout out to Darius Slayton, who went out there and just straight up stood on business for Sheduer. He cooked Micah Parsons over and over. It was crazy. But it's just wild that even guys like Micah Parsons, like an elite football player with presumably a really good football mind at worst, is like losing all perspective and knowledge of the game because Sheduer Sanders did something that is completely normal and people just have to have an opinion on it.
Yeah, it's if someone didn't bring that up, which was just like such a grasp at grasping at straws, someone would have just come up with something else.
Yeah.
Like, you better stop with that like slide step, or just it would just make some shit up.
Dipping the ball to
Like
of course.
I saw someone say like the throw to Jimmy. They're like 55 yards is the furthest he can possibly throw a football. I was like, what are you talking about? It's just insane.
Nothing,
One thing after another, but the patting the balls one has to be the dumbest one I've heard yet.
This is just peak lost our mind when it comes to Sheduer Sanders, honestly.
Yes.
I think you mentioned this before too, RK, bro, but it's so true, bro. There is just too much time between the end of the college football and the NFL season and the draft. There's just too much time.
Too much.
Too much time for Bull.
And I've never been so close to it, and it might be the one negative side effect of the Coach Prime era is that we're going to be talking about players in the NFL draft a hell of a lot.
Yep.
And it is a really annoying process. Like a really annoying process.
You know what's going to really annoy me and piss me off? If Jalen Milroe is taken in the first round of this draft. Or, God forbid, he's taken before Sheduer Sanders.
Bro, any of these, him, Shuck, Jackson Dart, like we can't, if that happens.
The reason I bring up Milroe specifically is because, as you know, he accepted an invitation from the NFL draft to be there in Green Bay Live, which you can make the assumption that not only does he think he's going in the first round,
his agent,
and him his agent, but the NFL thinks one of its teams is going to select Jalen Milroe in the first round of this draft. And Andy Staples talked about it a little bit today on 3. He goes, the NFL does not want a Will Levis situation to happen ever again. You know, a la the Lamar Jackson situation where you think you're going first round and you're sitting there to the end of the round, you know, damn near falling asleep on
Will
national
Levis
television.
didn't get picked, right?
You didn't get picked till like day 3 or third round, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you remember, they had the camera on him, you know,
Oh, yeah.
at his crib because he had a. No, I'm not gonna go there. But
She's around these
she
days.
yeah, I'm glad you know where I was going with that. But yeah, bro. Again, if Jalen Milroe thinks he's going first round, and the NFL seems to think that he's going first round, and people are talking about they don't know if Sheduer Sanders is going first round. What are we doing here?
We've lost our minds.
We have.
What are we doing?
I don't know, but I kind of think Milroe might be like a Lamar Jackson situation where someone trades into the end of the round to
That
get
would
there.
have to be it.
Like, for example, the Giants, let's just say,
Sure.
pick Travis at 3.
Sure.
And then trade back in at 32 and get Jalen Milroe so they can have, an exciting quarterback to get the fans going a little bit. But someone said this the other day. I want to say is our guy Dalvin. And
shout out Dalvin.
He was completely right. And I don't remember the way he said it, but he's like, man, Sheduer really did Colorado a favor or something by coming here because he could have gone anywhere else.
Yes.
And if he had gone anywhere else, this whole conversation would be different. Now, he would still get the Sanders hate for sure, but he used Cam Ward as the example.
Right.
Cam Ward was not considered a first-round pick before he went to Miami, obviously a very big profile school. They had a lot of great players around him. And, of course, now he is the favorite to go number 1 overall. Sheduer goes to Alabama. Promise you he's starting over Jalen Milroe.
And they win back-to-back national titles.
Sheduer goes to Georgia. I promise you he's starting over Carson Beck. And Sheduer goes to Texas. I promise you he's starting over Quinn Ewers. And all of those teams are much better off. And it probably isn't even a conversation right now. It's Sheduer is automatically the number 1 overall pick.
No question.
His life would be a lot easier today, too. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. So thank you for coming to Colorado, Sheduer.
No, for real.
All right, on to recruiting. Pretty big recruiting weekend, actually, this last weekend. And the emphasis was on the trenches. Are you surprised?
Nope.
Johnny Jones, probably the big target.
Big fellow.
Actually, there's 2 big targets, really, that were on campus. Johnny Jones, offensive tackle from Tampa, Florida, 6'6", 305, top 150 player in the 2026 recruiting class. About his visit, he said, this is on the development at Colorado and culture of the program. I was with a bunch of the O-line during the weekend. I really spent my time with the coach, just breaking down my film and how it incorporates with their offensive scheme. Practice was great, physical and gritty, and I like to see the physicality of the trenches and like the aggression of the total team. On speaking with Coach Prime, he said the message was that this is a place that is going to challenge me to become the best possible, and he would like to see me come into the program and compete and be ready to work with a good work ethic. The 5 pillars, right? Smart, fast, tough, discipline, with character. So we'll see. Deacon Schmidt came back. Top-rated recruit out of Colorado on the 247 Sports Composite Board from Windsor, Colorado. Fringe top 300 player, too. He came back on a visit. Seemed like he had a really good time as well. And then I think Brett Collegier was out here again. His family was at least out here. They tweeted out hanging out with Coach Prime. So
nice.
He's back out here. Another Colorado kid. He plays at IMG Academy now, Bradenton, Florida. Played with Seton and a bunch of those guys who are already with the program now. Yep, Cash as well. Gavin Mueller, the tight end from Wheaton, Illinois, came back, listed at 6'5", 255, 785th overall player, 37th ranked tight end in the 26th class. Malik Morris. We talked about him, the linebacker from Lakeland, Florida, listed at 6'1", 225 pounds. He's a top 200 player, 13th ranked linebacker in the 2026 class. He also, let me pull this up. He posted on Instagram from his visit. Don't like the story? I'm changing it.
Love that.
And then last one is... So Champ Bailey was visiting, right?
Sure was.
Yeah.
And the Buffs offered his son.
Oh, a new
His son. Yeah, I guess so. Braden Bailey. He's a 2028 corner, so still a long way to go. But he was the one hanging out with Champ Bailey. I don't know if you noticed, like, all this stuff. He was the one hanging out with Champ at Pro Day and at practice on Saturday as well. So he officially got an offer.
What position?
Pretty sure cornerback.
Yeah. Le Champ.
So that already immediately paid off, bringing Champ to Colorado. And then last thing I have is a big target who we talked about. We asked Cliff Hill about when he was on the show last week.
My dog.
Jake Kruel.
My dog.
Has earned his 5th 5-star rating from a service.
Wow. Would you say it's a cruel summer?
Probably say so. 5 of them, though. I only know of like 4 recruiting services.
He's a demon. I've been trying to tell folks. Like, there are a lot of guys in this 2026 recruiting class that I would love for Colorado to land. Jay Cruel is at the top of the list for me.
Let's go. He's got the Scotty stamp.
For real, for real.
That's it on recruiting for now, though. We are a little over a week from the portal opening.
You hear about our guy Oscar Rios over the weekend?
I did. He got an MVP. Yeah, what do you get?
3 MVP for the overtime OT7. Mm-hmm. Oscar Rios continuing to ball out at these camps, showing off his elite arm. I believe currently he's visiting Oklahoma State.
Yep.
He'll be visiting Colorado here soon, within a month, right?
He just started his OV cycle.
Yeah.
And he said the last time we read some intel about him that he would say Oklahoma State's leading his recruitment right now. So he's on this visit. But, of course, Colorado, I think, is the last one as well. So
I just know wherever he goes, we're be saying his name like his 3rd year there, and people are just like, this guy always finds a way.
Yep.
Definitely.
That's all on recruiting. That's actually all I got today, unless you all got anything else we can go to the chat.
I got one more thing I wanted to get y'all thoughts on. I tweeted this out over the weekend. Our guy Will Shepherd, who had a hell of a pro day on Friday. Some reports coming out of teams being interested in him. At least 5 of them that we know of. The Houston Texans, the Los Angeles Chargers, the New Orleans Saints, the New York Giants, the Tennessee Titans, and obviously he was seen chopping it up with Sean Payton, the Denver Broncos head coach, for quite a bit. What do y'all like is the best fit for Will Shepherd out of those 5, maybe 6 teams that I talked about?
We're both.
Yeah, what do you mean?
All right. Excluding the Denver Broncos, what do y'all like is the best fit for our guy, Will Shepherd?
Say it again.
Texans, Chargers, Saints, Giants, Titans.
Well, Texans or Chargers because they both have quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Him and Cam would
I'd say
be nice
well.
in Tennessee. They obviously need a lot of help at receiver. Tennessee does.
That's true.
Even the Giants. I kind of like all these fits except for maybe the Saints, but
Shedor's
But if they get Sheduer, yeah.
and he's from there too. He's from Louisiana as well, and obviously I think that's part of the reason there's been some noise, obviously, for Sheduer to New Orleans, because obviously they had their quarterback coach here on Friday, Scott Tolzien, former Wisconsin Badger legend, and obviously their receiver coach as well. But I think, honestly, one of these 4 receivers for Colorado in this draft end up in New Orleans. Whether it'll be dope to have another Horn playing receiver down in New Orleans.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that'd be dope.
But yeah,
Some people will be so confused.
whether
They're already
like,
confused.
right. Whether it's Jimmy or Will Shepherd, who I said is Louisiana native, or even LeJontay, I could definitely see a buff receiver ended up in New Orleans.
They were confused when Jimmy came to Colorado, though, because his name is Jimmy Horn Jr.
Yes.
And everyone kept on asking, is he Joe Horn's son?
I used to think that, like, early 2023, before obviously I was here covering the team.
It's a real
that was my first
Jimmy's
thought.
and Joe's situation.
Shout out to Will, though. Yeah. He had a great pro day, and I think I have a feeling the NFL is going to be higher on him than the media and all this pre-draft process has been on him. I mean, it's not hard to do, honestly, because there's been no buzz from the media or pre-draft process about Will Shepherd.
I think I said it Friday, but I think I'm at the point now where I think he's a 3rd buff drafted. I think that's where I'm at with it. And I obviously wouldn't have said that a month ago.
I'm not fully back there yet.
I hear you.
Still with LeJontay, but
Hey, that was my pick, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was LeJontay. But I think Will is strengthened his case to be that 3rd buff drafted.
I have this just intense feeling that Jimmy Horn is going to go to a really good team.
Yeah.
And everyone's just going to be like, where did they find this? Like, how did we end up here?
if he goes to the Chiefs, I swear to God,
bro. Don't put that in the air.
Yeah, why would you even speak?
But I was honestly thinking the Eagles. Like, I was imagining him in
Yeah.
the Eagles preseason. He takes a drag route to the house, and everyone's like,
yes.
how did the league let the Eagles get this guy in the 6th round or whatever
Right.
it is?
Definitely.
Yep. No, for sure.
Definitely.
All right, let's go to the Toyota chat then.
Chatsky.
Music has been fire during the show today, by the way. Truth Teller Maxwell says, do you think Trevor Woods should come back? Still hasn't found a school. Look, T. Woods was a good player here.
He
And
still
I
is a
think
good player, too.
He is a good player, yes. And he was a kind of a lightning rod too,
For sure.
Yeah.
but he'll find somewhere else, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're asking me if I would want him as a depth piece, the answer
Sure.
is yes.
He doesn't want that though.
Exactly.
Clearly.
And so he's obviously not going to start at safety here. That's what he wants to do. He wants to go somewhere and play safety. He's not going to be able to do that here. If you tell me he could be a core 4 special teamer for Colorado, I'm all the way in. But there's a big gap between those two things.
Yeah.
Jimmy, a Chiefs fan? The girls' club says. Is that true? Is that valid?
I don't
That'd
know.
be interesting.
I know Travis was a Niners fan growing up.
Yep.
Couldn't tell you anything about LeJohntay or sure Sheduer's favorite teams are pretty easy to guess.
Yeah.
At least
Cowboys
early on
or
in his life.
Falcons, maybe.
Bro, did you see I just like randomly get these videos on my timeline of like the old like Sanders
Oh yeah,
they were on
I
their
love
show?
it. I
Yes.
love it. Yes.
the one of him like asking for the girl's number. Did you see that one?
No, I didn't
Oh
see
my
that.
god, bro, it's sending me.
That's hilarious. Big Teasy wants to know where your highlights are, Scotty.
Hey, man, they Googleable. Just type in Scott Proctor, Huddle, HUDL. Some will come up. Some heat will come up.
Okay, Kurt Signetti.
Google me.
East Coast Kev with the super chat says salute to Prime for having his own media team that protects his narrative. The haters are on go right now, especially Marcellus Wiley and his big back friend.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Kev. As always.
Where's Marcellus Wiley talking?
Probably Fox or something.
No, I don't think he's on there anymore. I think he does his own thing. Pretty sure he has like his own pod. But
News to me.
The clip era has really just made it so that
Yeah.
irrelevant products
Yeah.
can make.
if you got a mic,
noise. Yeah. But it's like someone has just a bad hot take, and then it gets posted, and then it gets retweeted by everyone who disagrees with it, and then it blows up.
facts.
Lawrence with the super chat says, have you finalized plans for draft day? We're pretty close, I think. One thing I wish would stop is people trying to pit Two versus Ward. Both are fantastic and are legit friends.
I agree with that.
For sure, but that's just the nature of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be pitting against each other, but they're going to be compared.
Yes, for
They-
sure.
They have to be. It's the same thing as like, we're not pitting Juju and Caden against each other, but they're in a competition, so they have to be compared.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
It's just natural. I think that there's a pretty healthy understanding at this point now that they're friends and they work out together and they have the same quarterbacks coach and that sort of thing.
Yep. What's up, Rev?
Rev.
With a super chat, get them likes up, y'all. It's free, doesn't hurt. That's a great point. Do you guys know liking the stream is free? It's also free to subscribe to the channel.
Quite free.
Do that and stay tuned with everything we've got going on. We've got practice this week, so just stay ready. So you don't have to get ready. Have it all hit the bell too. Get all the notifications.
Let's go. Yeah, Scotty did have it as a video posted by the official NFL
He
account
did,
today.
yeah.
Love that.
Big time.
Bro, when I saw that notification come across my screen, talking about NFL mentioned you, I'm like, wait, what? Hell no.
Anything else today, boys?
I think that is it. That was a fun one.
Back at it tomorrow.
It's getting
Bro.
interesting.
Tomorrow is practice 10, y'all.
Let's go, man.
Practice 10
Hell yeah.
of 15. Crazy.
How far out are we from the spring game?
A week from Saturday.
It's next weekend, bro.
A week from this coming Saturday.
The weekend after this, yes.
It's next weekend. Yeah.
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Wild, bro.
And then the week after that's the draft.
Yes.
And then our nightmare hits and the long dark of the offseason is here.
I just got to put this out there for those of you who are, the weather of the spring game is always a big topic.
Yeah.
Right?
Literally for the next, as far as my forecast goes out, the weather is beautiful.
Starting today, it's just
Yeah.
going to be a beautiful stretch of weather.
Like this weekend is going to be
Yep.
crazy.
I'm so excited.
Like it's not cold in Colorado in April.
Yep.
No.
but somehow, some way.
But this is how it was the last 2 years. It was
Facts.
I know.
beautiful. And
I
then
know.
the one day that we
Literally,
needed to be beautiful. Not even beautiful, just be a solid day.
Yeah,
And
like we
get-
take 55 and sunny.
Absolutely. I'd take 55 and cloudy.
Sure.
I don't even need no sun. I don't even need no sun that day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Just no precipitation. I can't do it
Yes,
again.
Please. All right, chat. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's practice. So, going to be a big show. See you then. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.